I've been told that we're also being joined by Mr. Kishi Singh. He lost a very dear friend in this tragic bombing, who he lovingly called Tutu. Like I said, we've been discussing the numbers so far, how many people actually died, how this came to be known as the worst terror attack until 9/11, but they're never numbers, people. They're actual human beings. They're someone's family, they're someone's friends. Let's bring in Mr. Kishi Singh as well, so that he can tell us a little bit more. Mr. Singh, thank you so much for speaking to NewsX. We'd just like to understand if you can tell us maybe a little bit more, Mr. Singh, about your friend Tutu.
Well, I had a very dear friend on board. I had a very dear friend's wife and children on board. What had happened was Tutu had come to Canada, Montreal, got a job. It took him a couple of years to settle down, and then he sent for his childhood sweetheart. She came over, they got married in Montreal, raised a family, bought a house, and were having a marvelous dream existence. Good job, home, boy, girl, everything. They had to come back to India. The wife's family was in Bombay, and Tutu's family was in Delhi. He couldn't take off the month and a half or two that his wife wanted to be in India. So he said, you go ahead and I'll join you when my leave starts, and we'll travel together from Bombay to Delhi and meet first your parents, then my parents. And this is exactly what happened. Tutu stayed on in Montreal, and his wife with the young daughter and son were on board the Kanishka when it was blown up. And I hadn't seen Tutu for a year. We had decided to get together in Delhi. So I really don't know what his farewell message to his wife was, to his children. Usual, it was a very happy family, so hugs and kisses and, maybe a tear or two. And the sad part is he never saw them again.
There you have it, Mr. Singh. I mean, close friend of yours trying to make it in Canada, have a good life. If you can just, Mr. Singh, before we move on, just shed some more light on what exactly was the purpose of taking this flight. Mr. Singh, if you can hear me, sir.
As Indians, we love to travel on Air India. We can speak our language, and more important, we can get our food. A lot of Indians are vegetarians, and the foreign airlines didn't at that time in the 80s cater for vegetarians. It was very difficult. So and it was going exactly where the families had to go, Bombay and Delhi. So it made sense to travel Air India.
Absolutely. And Mr. Singh, at the same time, what were some of your then last memories with the victims? What do you really remember of those last moments, or some of the times that you may have shared, or maybe your friend spoke to you about?
My last memories of Tutu and his family would be in 84, sometime 83, 84, when I had visited Montreal and was looking up friends, and I was delighted to see Tutu and his family. And that was my last meeting with the family members. I met Tutu a couple of times later on, and I'm a little worried to say that he had not recovered even after 15, 20 years. He lost his wife, he lost his son, he lost his daughter in one go.
Okay. And Mr. Singh, I'd also just like to understand from you, how exactly then did you learn about the death of your friend Tutu and his family? Who exactly, how did the information travel, and what was the sort of information that was shared?
I was living in Chandigarh. Another friend of mine who I had known from India days, we were together in Montreal. So he called me up and said, "What are you doing? Come on over. I'm in the office. Come and have a cup of coffee with me." So I hadn't met this friend of mine for some time, and I was happy to go see him. He was in a very sullen mood. We sat down, hello. Coffee came, and he was very upset. I could notice that. And then he broke the news. Now, he must have got this news through other friends, because we were Montrealers, we were Canadians, we were Chandigarhans, and somebody must have called him. I didn't bother to check, because this is before the days of WhatsApps and, quick messaging. So it had to be a landline call from a friend in Canada to my friend in Montreal. That is how I learned. And we knew they were on this aircraft. And by this time, we also knew there were no survivors.
Mr. Singh, when you later on, of course, over the course of the next few months and years, learned that it was in fact Khalistani terrorists who were responsible for the bombing of the plane, what were your initial thoughts? What was perhaps your demand as a friend from the people who were responsible to deliver justice?
I don't remember exactly. I had no demands. The demands came from the family itself, or the family members who had perished in the accident. And it was traced back to British Columbia, where the terrorists were active at that time. And the foolish thing about terrorists, especially Sardar terrorists, is that they love to take fame. They think, I did this. And some people did admit to being responsible. A couple of names come to mind. One was Parmar, and one was Malik, I think. They were based in Vancouver.
Yes. And why do you think, Mr. Singh, the Canadian government actually took no action against these Khalistani terrorists?
Yeah, well, there are political overtures here. Everybody, anywhere in the world, even people who are in jail, are treated as a vote bank. If you have a religious dera somewhere and it's illegal, the politicians will still go there. They want votes, and they'll probably get a few thousand votes at a time. So it's easy to understand why the Canadian government was going soft on this.
Mr. Singh, before we let you go, sir, it's been, of course, many decades now. Do you think that there's anything that can perhaps be done to help your friend's family get the justice that they've been denied for so many years?
A hurt like this can never heal. No amount of money. You've lost your childhood sweetheart. She was the mother of your son and daughter. How are you going to compensate this man? With what? Give him another wife? Give him another son? No. That hurt stays with you.
Mr. Singh, thank you so much for joining us on NewsX to tell us the tale of your friend Tutu. And as you've rightly pointed out, there are some sort of this sort of hurt that just can never heal.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.